A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Thursday edition of Sports This Morning. I'm Yemi Adebayo.
Always a delight to have you join us to talk sports. I'm Austin Okonakwa. Now let's do just that, talking sports. Let's go to Abuja. That's the camp for the Super Eagles of Nigeria as they prepare for that crucial 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifying game against the cheap Polo of Zambia. And Gernot Rohr and his team, they are shaping up nicely. They played Plateau United and won by 3-0.
Yeah, that's good.
That's right.
We'll see what happens when the team eventually gets to Ndola. That's what we're waiting for.
Of course, you know, there is a new leadership at UEFA and there are a lot of changes that are coming up right there. Talking about world football, there's going to be a new World Cup format. What is it about? We'll tell you on the program.
Infantino has been pushing for changes.
That's right.
His campaign was hinged on a plan to have 48 nations at the FIFA World Cup. Whether or not it will see the light of the day, we just have to wait for that. But we have to give you the biggest news coming from the world of boxing. We go to the rings now, and it's in the making. A fight between Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua already in the works. Will it happen? Will it not happen? We'll tell you about that as we go on the show.
Wow, will it happen? Yes, it can happen. Is Anthony Joshua really ready for this? No. Because remember, Lennox Lewis at some point told him, you need to do more fights.
Get more fights under your belt.
Exactly. You know, we want to see this fight.
Yeah.
You want to see it. Boxing fans all over the world would like to see Vladimir Klitschko go against Anthony Joshua. But is Joshua ready? I think he's not.
I don't think he is. If you ask me if Deontay Wilder is ready, I'll say Deontay is ready.
That's right.
For me, Deontay is the next big thing. There's so much potential in Joshua, but I think he has to wait, get his confidence. Because if he gets knocked off now on a big day, it might take a while to get back to that level. So we'll see what happens. But with what's going on with Tyson Fury now, because that's what's making this fight a possibility. With what is going on, Tyson Fury medically unstable, the BBBofC thinking of deciding what to do with his license. His license might get revoked. The WBA also looking at. So if Tyson Fury gets stripped,
then this fight must take place.
You know, so Joshua might just be a mandatory challenger. I don't know, but because he has one of the belts now,
exactly.
His IBF. I know Deontay too will be in the mix, but somehow, whoever has the belt will have to fight Klitschko. So we'll wait to see what happens. It's a sad one for Tyson Fury. He's climbed up. A lot of us thought he was just, you know, a noisemaker. A lot of British boxers are noisemakers. Derek Chisora, David Hay, Tyson Fury. But Tyson Fury came to the party, defeated Klitschko.
That's right.
We thought, you know, he has a big mouth, but he knows how to fight.
That's right.
But the admission of using cocaine, threw everybody off.
I know, and then going on Twitter this moment, say you retired, 3 hours later you're changing it, you're calling off crucial fights, you know, all of that, more problems for Tyson Fury. But Anthony Joshua, let's stay with him. He's confident that the fight with Vladimir Klitschko will happen. And I'm saying, he's saying even this year.
Yeah,
that it can happen. Boxing fans want to see it, but when you look at Anthony Joshua and the way he fights, you know, he has a team that is careful with the sort of fights they pick for him. Yeah, because they want him to fight more. They want to, you know, assess him properly. Not a Klitschko that right now is even eager to win back the confidence of his fans.
My own problem with Joshua is that, you know, I think he's a younger version of Mike Tyson. He's aggressive, but I don't think he has the staying power. That's where my problem with Joshua lies for now. I think Deontay is more ready. It might take a while. And like you said, his team has been very careful, very smart how they pick his opponents. But Eddie Hearn, sensing what's going on with Tyson Fury, he's saying, look,
let's get ready.
And you know, in all fairness, even before all of this has happened, Eddie Hearn told us that, look, that there is a possibility that Tyson Fury might be stripped of his belts, and he probably knows what we don't know, and it's all coming to the light now.
That's right.
If I was one of Joshua's advisors, I would say, boy, you're not ready.
You're
not ready for Klitschko. You're not ready for Deontay.
I know.
Any other person, yes. Let both guys knock each other out. Then maybe next year, April, June, when you're ready, fight them. But if you take the first bite of the apple, it might just be the last.
It might just be the last year. Maybe boxing fans all over the world will say, yeah, Austin, what are you guys talking about? We want to see Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua fight. If it happens, we will talk about it. Trust us. Let's move on with the show now, Yemi. Go to FIFA. Talk about world football. These changes that are happening, it's good, but FIFA, they say it's likely to happen in 2026, where we'll see about 46 teams, the new World Cup format. But they are also explaining that the bid to host the World Cup given to Qatar and Russia was to clean the sport. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, with the FIFA vice president that was talking about, Victor Montagliani, says that was the best thing that would have happened at that point. After that, the ocean rights was given to Russia, and Qatar heads started rolling in FIFA.
Questions.
Our own Amos Adamu, was caught in the web, and a whole lot of things happened. But FIFA still believes that Qatar and Russia is still the best, given the circumstances, according to the words of Victor Montagliani.
That's right.
And talking about having 48 teams at the World Cup, at some point it was 24. They proposed 32. We said the standard was going to go down.
Yeah,
it didn't go down.
Yeah.
Now 48. But
bring it on. Give Africa more slots.
That's the problem. We might not get more slots.
If we don't get ready to limit at 32.
It might bring the bitter experience of World Cup 82, where you have knockout formats. Because if you have 48 knockout formats, then you get to a stage. But now that you have group games, at least if you get to the World Cup, you play 3 matches.
There you go.
But if you change the format and you're having straight, I don't know. I really don't envy Infantino at this moment. But let's bring you to the picture and allow you to listen to the FIFA vice president, his views on Qatar and Russia, and also on the proposed plan to have 48 teams at the World Cup.
Well, I think it's obvious it's not going to stay at 32. For 2026. I think it's going to obviously change. And I think the message from the president is not so much, what the number is right now. I think, he's had some ideas of 40, 48. But the reality is, I think we need to look from a growth perspective, having more teams in there. That should we expand? I think the answer is probably yes. And now is what's the format and all that, and it has to work, obviously, both from a number standpoint and obviously from a business standpoint. But I think before a final decision is made, I am sure that we'll do a cost-benefit analysis and then land somewhere in terms of what it will look like for 2026.
All right. So everything cleared up.
That's
We'll
right.
see what's going to happen. But you can trust that the bidding process will be clearer now. We're going to get a clearer picture.
That's right.
There'll be a lot of hesitation. The bid process will be made more open, more transparent, and you feel all the associations in FIFA now have a good chance.
Also, Yemi, what is saying to Russia and Qatar, when the World Cup comes, put up a good show, shut your critics up.
Yeah.
Let them know that you're capable, that you didn't win this bid through any other means.
And he's
put
not
up a good show.
He's not saying anything different from the previous administration in FIFA. Look, it's too late to do anything.
That's right.
It's just too late. So we are stuck with Russia and Qatar.
So just accept
So
it.
start thinking of 2026
Yeah.
and move on.
I agree with you on that, Yemi. We're still talking about football and reforms, changes. They are inevitable in sport. And Yemi, this time around is the UEFA Champions League. What's this talk about? Some of the stronger countries, is it getting more slots at the Champions League?
When we started watching football, early stages, there was always this talk about a breakaway European League, a breakaway, something that would be like the Champions League, but we have the elite clubs. And now there are some proposals in UEFA. We know that when Severin came in, it was always going to fight the big elephant in the room. That's talking about the strong nations, in quotes, England, Spain, Germany, all of those people, France, having more slots, all of those issues. Now, that fear is what's in the mix now. Some of the lesser countries, don't let me use the word lesser, some of those countries that are
Will have more prominence like this.
are not as big as France, as England and the others. They feel that these new changes being proposed might lead to that breakaway league that everybody. A lot of people wanted that breakaway league where you just have Barcelona, Real Madrid, the elite, but the lesser clubs, they've already fought for revenue allocation.
That's right.
It's almost going their way, but these big clubs find a way to fight back, put in these new proposals, but the smaller ones are saying, no, it's not going to happen.
But that's right, because we also love it when we have these smaller teams beat these bigger teams in the UEFA Champions League. Because
it's their chance to get revenue. It's their chance to make their leagues bigger.
That's right.
I remember my first experience with Dynamo Kiev that threw up Andriy Shevchenko, Sergei Rebrov. How did I know these guys? Because they defeated Real Madrid
in the UEFA
Champions League.
So Maccabi Haifa, when they started playing in the Champions League,
as a matter of fact,
opened up the league in Israel.
That was how Yakubu Aigbeni was able to come to England. It destroyed Manchester United. And even Alex Ferguson says one of his biggest regrets was his inability to bring the Yak to Manchester United. So it's always good to have these teams.
Yeah.
We know that the big leagues will have more clubs in the UEFA Champions League, but those stifle the small ones and don't allow the big ones get an undue advantage, because the bigger they get, the chances of having that breakaway league, and I'm very sure Seferin, we don't want that to happen under his watch.
Exactly, even with the changes, because I mean, when you have, for instance, Leicester, they don't have too much Champions League experience, but it would be good for them to, for instance, go to the Bernabeu, see the way Real Madrid organize a Champions League game. Real Madrid also comes to the King Power Stadium. Football will be winning. Reactions, more reactions coming out of these changes in international football. Let's listen to some of the reactions and we'll be right back.
We've been setting all the conditions for a private closed league in the future. And that is the real dangerous thing about the proposals now. They are the risk for the future is much more dangerous than the direct changes in the formats and things like that. And it's a bit annoying that not so many others are seeing this direction. The big clubs have been using the vacuum, the power vacuum in UEFA, to get these proposals through. Now, the fact is that UEFA will have problems because UEFA members are the associations. And of the majority of the associations already have been opposing to this lack of proper process. So putting pressure on UEFA is actually the member associations, and they have already done so. I don't think there is a market for a European closed league where these teams are not playing in their domestic context. So if we take all the English teams, for example, I have difficulties in seeing an English club team leaving the Premier League to play in a closed shop in Europe.
Chairman of the European leagues actually clearing up issues there and saying they'll vow to fight the changes, that they don't think it's actually good for those other teams that are upcoming. Let's go to our new studio now. Olumide Macaulay is standing by. Olumide, good to have you join us.
Thanks, Austin. Hello, Yemi. Yeah. Good morning to our viewers. Here are the headline news. The government has agreed to consolidate the criminal charges filed against the former National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambo Dasuki. Counsel to the former NSA, Mr. Joseph Daudu, says putting him on trial in 2 different courts on the same issue, it will cause double jeopardy. The chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal has dismissed the application by the Senate President seeking his disqualification from hearing the case of non-declaration of assets. Dr. Bukola Saraki claims Mr. Danladi Umar may be biased. And as Nigeria joins the world to mark World Teachers' Day, the National Union of Teachers has given the government a 2-week ultimatum to meet their demands or face a nationwide strike. Over 80% of state governments in the country are owing teachers' salaries, with some states owing up to 9 months. Communities along the Ogun River bank are already counting losses as the river once again is bursting its banks. Some of the residents of the Sherry North GRA are already relocating for fear of getting submerged. And on the foreign scene, Kenya officials say suspected Al-Shabaab militants have killed at least 6 people in an attack on the country's northeast region. The governor of Mandera County, Ali Roba, says one person has also been seriously injured in that attack. You can find details of these stories and more on our website, channelstv.com. Sports this morning continues. Austin.
Anthony Joshua getting ready for Vladimir Klitschko. You think he has the experience for that fight?
Well,
okay, Olumide. We'll talk about this later. Let's go on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll continue the show. Stay with us.